Like, yeah, I mean, like people like consuming motivational content because they think they're actually doing something. I think it's like watching somebody else work out.
That's a good point.
And so I'm hoping that, but this is why I like to talk my truth. It's the 97th time somebody saw, like the amount of people that have hit, this is why reading every comment matters. Do you know how motivating it is when you read a comment that says, Gary Vee, I watched you for 4 months. I loved you. Then I thought you were a dick face. I didn't watch you. But now I'm back. And now I've been watching for a year and a half. And just yesterday, that post with you in the barn is the reason now I did it. And I'm like, fuck, the thing I did in the barn, I've done 874 times, just not in the barn and not with that word and not with that meme title. And it was this time, after 17 months, 4 months of which they thought I was a douchebag, that it was the piece of content that actually got them to actually go to the gym and work out. I'm into it.
So is it flattering if someone's like, I
Yes.
can't listen to I can't listen to Gary anymore. He just says the same thing over and over. He's
Flattering.
repetitive.
Yeah, why in the world would I make up shit to like entertain you on fucking Instagram? I will never be historically incorrect at the moment I said it. I will never say anything I don't believe in. I will never say it. I don't need the likes. I don't want the money. I don't need the admiration, which is what I really like. I don't need any of that to say something I don't believe in.
Got it. So, and another thing that you're very clear on is hustling, working hard, hard work ethic.
I think hard work matters.
I agree with you, but there's this whole wave, I don't know if you've seen, of people coming in now.
Are you kidding?
Of
I'm
saying,
the one who's fucking
work-life balance.
Of course,
That
I'm the
you
one
shouldn't
who's-
work
I'm the one
hard.
that gets picked on for that because the manifestation of me believing in hard work has been, I say that I sleep 6, 7, and 8 hours, and that nobody should do anything that doesn't make them happy, and that making $47,000 a year and being happy is amazing, and yet people want to make me the poster child of overworking and burning yourself out. I get it. I understand what happens once you hit a certain tier. I also understand that maybe I could have done a better job earlier in the process of my career in creating clarification. Thus, I'm okay with getting link baited into some of these conversations. But listen, I believe in work-life balance. I just think my work-life balance is different than yours. I also think that happiness needs to be thought about. And like when you love what you do, like this is my hobby.
You also have to know what you want, right?
Correct.
If you want to be a billionaire, you're not going to do it by just
and by the
sleeping
way,
all day.
let me say it one more time because I've got to clarify it all the fucking time. I'll say it for the 9,000th fucking time. The pursuit of trying to buy the New York Jets is my passion because it allows me to play the game that I love. I love being a businessman the way a lot of you love playing football, the way a lot of you love to ski, the way a lot of you love to read, the way a lot of you love to cook, watch Netflix, hang out with your friends. If given the option, besides garage sailing and watching the Jets professionally, forget about family, that's on a pedestal that nothing can touch. Outside of spending time with my inner family and closest friends, and outside of garage sailing and watching the Jets, there's nothing I'd rather do than work a 15-hour day.
You're self-aware. You know you.
And I always have. This is why I shoveled snow and did lemonade. And I washed fucking cars as a 7-year-old all day long on August 9th because it's what I like. And I'm not going to judge somebody who wants to work 9 to 5, be on 13 fucking softball teams and play fucking video games all day and make $42K a year. If she and he are pumped as fuck, they're equal to me because I know a bunch of miserable fucking billionaires and I know a lot of fucking happy 55K a years and everything in between. So here's my thing. If you listen carefully, I'm only spitting 2 core things. You be self-aware and you make yourself happy and don't let anything other variables, you adjust to macro variables. And 2, this is what makes me happy. A lot of people are spitting their ideology on other people, especially after they've already accomplished something.
Yeah, so you talk patience too, right? That people should be patient in the pursuit of their goals. At what point does patience just become delusion?
A lot of times.
Oh, so what are the hacks or the tips that for them to be self-aware to know when to just, when is patience just run its course?
If you've been doing the same thing for 7 years and nothing good has happened, you're delusional. Let's start there. That's a test. I believe in that. If there's been no progress in your rap career or in your art or your video blog and you've been doing it every day for 7 years, as hard as you can, and nothing has happened, the market has spoken. That's one way. Now, is that 4 years? Is that 2 years? Do people jump off? Like, you need to see some level of progress to keep you having blood in the water to get you going. But sometimes there is a breakthrough, because if the machine is in between you and the market, well, then you got to be discovered. But the reason now I think it's more pure is because SoundCloud and Spotify and YouTube and Shopify and Amazon, now you get the feedback loop so fast, and it isn't the arbitrary subjective call. The reason it took some of the greatest stars of all time 11 years to break through is because other people had say. People didn't see Gaga's talent. They thought she was weird. Somebody thought she wasn't weird. She breaks out. But Lady Gaga today, she goes on fucking YouTube and fucking Spotify Direct, and the market speaks quicker. People are more famous quicker now if they have the talent, because nobody's in the middle. This is why I talk in general terms on content, of course, because I don't have the context. But if somebody sat here and I listened for 40 minutes, I would tell them if they're delusional or just impatient. And most people are impatient and delusional.
Fair.
I mean, that's just the reality of it.
You speak to a lot of young startup entrepreneurs that you get approached all the time for advice. But here at Vayner, you work with a lot of big companies. What can some of the young entrepreneurs learn from the big companies, and what could big companies learn from the young entrepreneurs?
That's a great question. And honestly, I would argue that that is a core strength of mine, that I play in both worlds. And so I'm able to like see the common themes. I think big companies can learn that process for the sake of process is the worst thing of all time. And that's all they've become. And that long-term marathon running and building a business is better than every 90 days. But they're stuck because they pander to Wall Street. I think startups are impatient, underestimate scale, pander to VC. Big companies pander to Wall Street, startups pander to VCs, neither panders to the end consumer. I genuinely believe that because I pander to the end consumer, the audience, that I am who I am. Wine Library was what Wine Library was, VaynerMedia is. Everybody panders to things in the middle that mean nothing.
How important is attention when you're doing all this? Getting
the
attention.
most.
So
if this interview is not heard by anybody, it's not a great use of time other than sharpening your craft, right?
Yeah.
Which is not horrible, but like it's better if it gets heard. And the reason I film everything is Dustin's gonna watch this and he's gonna take a clip, and if one of them achieves 1.5 million in views on Instagram at the moment of scale, that's a good day because we've created more
and then
awareness.
it gets podcast number 2.
That's right.
So if attention matters,
Yes.
what's going on in the marketing industry right now? There's a lot of pollution, a lot of bottom feeders coming out. I do paid media for a lot of clients, and they're preaching that whole spend $1, make $10, and clients are starting to think that they need to see a 10x
You talking about
return.
ROAS?
Yeah. All clients are now sitting there saying, $1 should make $10, but
Crazy.
But it's crazy for me when I run ads, like for myself. 1x is great because if I'm getting my money back and my marketing content is still out there and I'm still building a brand, that's amazing. How do we clean up the marketing industry and reset the expectations that clients have?
Letting the market do what it always does. Do you know that everybody who picks on me for telling people that you don't need to make a lot, there are literally people now pushing back on my thesis that you can be happy without making a lot of money. This is literally now happening. Like watching it, I'm like, this is remarkable. Let me explain how I plan on addressing that. By not addressing it until the economy collapses, and then making some comments on how historically correct I was.
So the market will course correct and take away all the bottom feeders.
And your control in this scenario is when a client says to you, no, bro, I need $10 ROAS, you're like, thank you very much, I'm not the guy for you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right. Me too.
And when the guys post that they could get 10x, I offer to hire them, and then they disappear.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. If you could speak to every entrepreneur in the world, you're on.
I'm planning on it.
Well, with this podcast.
Yes, of course.
If you're standing on top of a mountain,
Yes.
you could have the attention of every single entrepreneur in the world. What would you tell them?
Real entrepreneurs or people that are claiming to be entrepreneurs during this era?
Real hardworking entrepreneurs.
How lucky did we get that we didn't end up being athletes?
Why is that?
Because they have to retire at 36.
I mean, you just brought up something really, really good. You work with a lot of athletes. I'm just curious from your mindset. I asked Brandon Steiner the same question. What are some of the common characteristics between the most successful athletes and the most successful business people you've met?
Preparation, competitiveness, deep passion for the fucking game. I mean, that's a real entrepreneur. She or he loves it so much, they couldn't be, I mean, my actions have spoken long before entrepreneurship was cool. I was not capable of being a student because of my deep passion for entrepreneurship. It was baseball cards. It was baseball cards that didn't allow me to be a good student. I was incapable of sitting in class and not dreaming about selling Bo Jackson cards. It took me over. But for some reason, when you're an athlete, and you're missing a bunch of school because you're a great athlete, or when you're Beyonce being homeschooled, right? That makes sense, but not for entrepreneurs, right? Doesn't seem like you're allowed to miss a ton of school. If you're an unbelievable actor, actress, singer, athlete, missing normal school is something that all of us in this room and listening right now understand. You're like, oh yeah, that's what happens. Like, you're the best quarterback in the world. Yeah, you got to throw with the quarterback. You miss first class, but not for entrepreneurs.